It feels like law-abiding citizens are being punished in modern Britain. So just have a little look at this. That's a man who's exposing his genitals on the London Underground in front of women and children. Now, he appears to be unhinged. He clearly could be a threat to others. And some men decided to, I would argue, do the right thing and step in and protect other people on the train. I and many others who have seen this clip online say, well done to those men. I think you did the right thing. OK, the women and children on there, and they subdued the man. But get a load of this. The men who tackled the naked bloke are now facing arrest because they were maybe a little bit too forceful. I mean, jog on. And have a little look at this headline, shall we? So look at how this was written by some people in the media. Half-naked man in mental health crisis beaten by London Underground passengers. I mean, look, what's going on here? What are the other blokes supposed to do? Give him a hug? I mean, so now they're facing arrest, and they're the bad guys, and the naked guy's a victim. What a country, eh? Have you seen this? A shopkeeper was sick of shoplifters, so he puts up a sign calling them scumbags, which they are. What happens? Police officers turn up to his shop and ask him to take it down because it could be seen as provocative and offensive. Well, to who? The shoplifters? Presumably whoever reported it to the police is a shoplifter. Like, maybe they could have thought, hang on, so you're offended by this, are you? Right, maybe you go round to his house and just check his cupboards for stuff that he might have nicked. But it's nice to see who Sir Keir Starmer's side is in all of this. He's weighed in on it, hasn't he? So Sir Keir Starmer would not call shoplifters scumbags, according to his spokesperson. Would he call them Labour voters? I wonder. But anyway, of course, I think it depends, doesn't it? What if they stole something from a migrant hotel, Prime Minister? I reckon he'd call them far-right scumbags then, wouldn't he? But now we're being told that we also shouldn't identify shoplifters on things like CCTV, etc., because of their data protection. Again, whose side are we on here? And the latest trick is for the left to try to gaslight you into thinking that crime barely even exists. Everything's fine.
We do have problems in this country. I mean, shoplifting has been going up ever since the Tories stupidly downgraded it as a crime in 2014. Snatch theft is going up, but serious violent crime is not.
Yeah, so it's a snippet there of what Fraser Nelson was saying. It's interesting, I didn't hear him mention sexual assault there. I mean, if you go to the supermarket, cheese is in a security cage. And I know women who change their behaviours, so they refuse to go out in London after a certain time. Men aren't wearing nice watches when they go out in case a lunatic with a machete kills them for it. But Fraser Nelson seems to think it's just a right-wing narrative. I think we can go back there. There he is. Yeah, forget Comical Ali. We've now got Comical Nelson. There is no crime being committed here, everybody. No crime. But the Mayor of London, Sir Sadiq Khan, basically tried to gaslight you as well today. He's put out these stats now. Yay, crime's down. Woohoo. Oh, hang on. No, it's actually awful. Gun crime up 18%, rape up 9%, sexual offences up 11%, business robbery up 38%, theft, easy for me to say, from the person up 12%, shoplifting up 38%. Meanwhile, over in the US, President Donald Trump is cracking down on violence as he deploys the National Guard to Washington, D.C. as he pledges a crime crackdown.
It's time for dramatic action. They fight back until you knock the hell out of them.
Yeah, I mean, back in Britain, does it not feel like if you step in to stop any wrongdoing, you might be prosecuted? We're not allowed to offend criminals over here, and prominent media and political figures seem to want to pretend that everything's fine.
Do you want to save a boatload of cash this summer, wherever you have a trip planned? The one thing you're going to need is access to the internet and on the go. You can do that easily with Saily. Hit the link in the description to get 15% of your first eSIM plan ready for your trip so you can browse to your heart's content. Saily gets you a local SIM card you can use when traveling so you don't have to pay those crazy roaming fees just to send a message or check the latest news. Now, they've got plans in over 160 countries, 8 regions, so pretty much everywhere, wherever you're going, they'll be able to make sure you're connected. So how does it work? All you've got to do is this. Hit the link in the description to download the app. It will work on iOS or Android. Buy a plan. You can choose an amount of data and time frame that suits you best. And then just install the eSIM on your phone. When you land at your holiday destination, you can activate your plan instantly. And if that wasn't enough, Saley eSIMs only ever have to be installed once. So when you go on your next trip, you just buy a plan for a new country, turn that eSIM back on, and boom, you're back watching me on GB News. I'll be using a Saley SIM on my next holiday because it's actually faster than some of the hotel Wi-Fis. You can get unlimited data if you want, so you can scroll away to your heart's content. And when you leave the hotel, you don't have to do that annoying thing of Wi-Fi hopping because you've got constant connectivity wherever you go. And they've got 24/7 support as well and a full refund policy if your eSIM isn't compatible. So get sorted for your next trip. Download Saley using the link in the description below. And if you use the code NEWS at checkout, you'll get an exclusive 15% discount on us. So click the link, download Saley, and use the code NEWS at checkout.
Let's get the thoughts of my panel, journalist and broadcaster Carol Malone. We've also got writer and commentator Benjamin Butterworth. I'm political commentator Russell Quirk. Carol, I will start with you. I think firstly I'd just like to focus on this slightly bizarre case where it seems as though the blokes who intervened on the London Underground to the naked screaming man might now be the criminals.
It's interesting, isn't it? Because it doesn't matter whether he's mentally ill or not. In fact, the fact they're saying he is mentally ill is very good reason to subdue him because you have no idea what he's going to do. He could then attack a woman or a child, and if he's in the process of that, it's probably too late to subdue him. So it was absolutely the right thing to do. But this is just typical in this country. You know, people now feel, quite rightly, that the cops are on the side of the perpetrators of crime rather than the victims of crime. And if you look at what's happening in this country now, we can see that the British people are being betrayed. Only 6% of all crime in this country is solved. That's 94% that's not. And we have a rape and a sexual assault epidemic currently, and only 1.3% of all recorded rape cases, there's only ever a charge in 1.3% of rape cases. You know, in the country at large, crime has gone up 44%. In London, it's something like, I can't remember, 60% knife crime has gone up in London. So what the hell are the cops doing in this country? What they're doing is they're going after people who send silly tweets and putting them in jail. And people like your man here, the mentally ill man, nothing will happen to him. He will get a caution. He will be told that he's going to get some kind of treatment. But it doesn't matter because he could have hurt people, and that's the point.
I don't know if I want to live in a country, Russell, where if you're like, I do think blokes do have certain obligations, and that might be an unfashionable thing to say.
We're not sure we're allowed to have any more, are we?
I don't.
So when you go to give up your seat on the tube and you get told off because it's not the right thing to do anymore.
Yeah.
I think that we're in a kind of law enforcement vacuum now, aren't we? I mean, apparently we've got lots more police officers and so on, but you never see them. You don't see them on public transport. I don't see them in my local high street. I don't see them patrolling. I only see them when they've got a blue light flashing when they're on the way to an incident, presumably to give an emergency crime reference number for the purposes of insurance. That seems to be what they are now. They're not the police, they're the crime reference givers. And look, is it any wonder, and I know we wouldn't encourage it, we're not inciting it, but is it any wonder that in the absence of law enforcement, discipline, standards, a proper judiciary, politicians that are actually in touch with Britain and care about what's happening in terms of those declining standards, is it any wonder that people start to take the law into their own hands? Again, I'm not suggesting it. We should.
It's not even.
But hang on, let's just play this out, Carol. That individual, whoever he was, strips naked and shows his genitalia on public transport in the middle of the day to women and children.
Yeah.
What was his? But if those men hadn't intervened, what would have happened next?
That is the point.
What would he have done?
But it's not taking the law into your own hands because it sounds like a bad thing. They're not.
No, I don't think it is at all.
They're preventing a crime being committed because the cops aren't there. And not where's British transport, please? There should be somebody on every single train. There isn't.
But we're right, and we know we're right, because exactly what you've just laid out is exactly what you expect to happen these days, which is the front page of the Independent saying that a poor individual with mental health problems was assaulted by some horrible tube passengers.
Yes, and before we get onto the crime stats, this idea, Benjamin, now, so obviously we've got the case there where it looks as though the people who, subdued that man might end up getting in trouble themselves. I think it would be grossly unfair. But you've also got the thing about, you can't call shoplifters scumbags scumbags, or in case it offends them, which I think it just feels a bit ridiculous, this.
Well, I don't think it's the bit that most people care about. I mean, I was very amused by the police officers that said it could breach data protection.
Yeah.
Shopkeepers put it in the window. Who's going to bring that case?
Yeah.
Only the shoplifters. So, I mean, it's just farcical. It's just... what it tells you something about the police is that they're not thinking about the perception of crime. And I think this is where the real issue lies. Some crimes, serious crimes, like homicide, stabbings, use of a gun, are on the down, and they have been for some years. Home burglaries...
They're not.
No.
Night crime is not
utter
now.
rubbish.
It's 60% up in
the
London
National Crime Survey
over
says
the last
otherwise.
3 years.
So that's a survey. That's
I'm
not...
sorry, it's a survey, exactly.
It's
the
not
stats
data.
say it's up 60% in London over the last 3 years. Nonsense.
Well,
But
go on,
what I was going to say is that there are lots of what they call low-level crime that is very visible, which is shoplifting, which is being, intimidating actions like this on the tube. Those things are out of control.
Yes.
But I'm
And
sorry,
that has a
what
real effect.
happens...
But they're also gateway crimes.
Tube is not low-level crime.
But they're also gateway
That would have
crimes.
turned
Do
into a
you remember what Rudy Giuliani did? Now, I know he kind of
Yes.
went in a bit of a wobbly way with regard to the whole Trump thing, but when he was mayor of New York, his whole approach was to make sure it was the whole broken window
low-level
syndrome,
crime on.
which was let's stop fare dodgers, let's stop people vandalising and graffitiing, because then it will encourage everybody to start behaving in a better way.
And I just want to say, obviously, I mentioned Fraser Nelson there, and he's been quite visible and vocal recently about this National Crime Survey and everything. Obviously, I took the mick a little bit out of him, though. I don't have any genuine negative feeling about him. I think he's done some tremendous work as a journalist. However, I just wonder if there's a little bit detached from reality.
What's happened to him?
It's all very well and good going like, right, OK, well, if you look at this on a spreadsheet, it says that, it's never been a better time to live in Britain. But it doesn't look or feel like that, does it, to people?
He needs to get on the streets and feel the fear, because people on the streets, particularly women, are feeling the fear now. You just mentioned there, women going out at night time.
Yes.
Farage actually challenged a Sky journalist to go out after 9 o'clock wearing jewellery, because you wouldn't do it.
I'm afraid Fraser Nelson is drinking the Sadiq Khan Kool-Aid. It's very, very easy to grab a specific set of data using a timeline that suits your argument, which is exactly what Fraser Nelson has done, but albeit it's a survey, not actual crime data in terms of reported offences. If you actually look at, let's go back in London to 2015, before Sadiq Khan was elected, all of the bad crimes, those things that we really don't want to happen to, a sexual crime, car crime, theft and violence against the person, those crimes are up by between 30 and 60% since Sadiq Khan took over in 2016. That's a fact. We can look at last year and say, well, actually, compared to last year, it's quite a bit better. But the reality is, it's not.
I just want to give a word to Benjamin on this. Yeah, I don't know. Have we been a bit unfair? But at the crux of what Fraser Nelson was saying, and what quite a few commentators are now saying, which is that actually the only reason we think crime is on the up and it's bad and we live in this lawless country is because people like Nigel Farage and Robert Jenrick, possibly me as well, keep talking about it and keep telling us that everything's awful. But that's not the reality. I just feel like maybe we're being a bit gaslit there.
Well, I think Nigel Farage saying you can't walk in central London with jewellery is absurd, because the West End is full, and actually it's one of the places where you'll visibly see police officers sometimes.
Weren't you battered a couple of years ago in the street?
You got mugged on the South Bank.
Yes.
South Bank, yeah.
Exactly.
I was threatened with a knife. I was actually
Exactly. Well, there you go.
I was actually.
You're sounding a bit Matthew Stadler now, I have to say, Benjamin. Do you know what I wear now? I've got some nice watches. Benjamin, do you know what I watch? I wear a £25 Casio watch to come into London because I can't wear something decent.
See, this is the thing that our crime survey... I will come to you on this, sorry, but this is the thing that this crime survey didn't take into account, did it? People's changing behaviours. So if you now, this is the thing, oh, well, the theft of cheese has gone down. Well, that's because we've encased it in a security tag at shops. I mean, it's mad. To buy some cheddar at my local Tesco, I have to get someone to come and take a security tag off.
And how many people don't even bother reporting crime because they know the police aren't going to do anything about it?
You look at shoplifting. 2.2 billion it cost this country last year. Cops don't even turn out for it now. They can't be bothered.
Final word to you, Benjamin. Sorry.
Well, I was just going to say, the thing about the sexual assault numbers going up is that one positive is I think people are more likely to report those types of crimes because of a cultural change. But obviously, every one of them is appalling. The other thing is that it's these visible, so-called low-level crimes, and I think that's what the police just don't seem to understand. That those are the things that you see blatantly in your local supermarket, and then that makes you fearful of just what else.
But Benjamin, they call burglaries low-level. It's devastating for some people. It wrecks lives.
Yeah. One of the things that I will say about the police, by the way, and I do want to, especially in light of what we're doing in the next segment, I do want to stick up for them a little bit, which is that I don't think you can realistically have a country where your population increases at an unbelievably rapid rate, and then you do not increase the number of police in line with that. It's only logical that you will end up with more crime and overstretched police forces. But anyway,